Hello, I'm John Sullivan, Product Manager with the Enterprise Software Division at Broadcom. Today I'm going to talk to you about intelligent insights. With intelligent insights, you can triage problems faster and deliver better application outcomes. Today, applications are built on a layered set of technology. That technology is databases, infrastructure related to compute, and network. All of these items work together in concert to deliver a good application experience. Operations teams work to manage these environments and make sure that they're running well. To understand how these applications are performing, they deploy specific tooling to each one of these layers within the application environment. So they'll collect metrics, alarms, topology. They'll also collect logs and metrics across all of these different items out here. We'll also see on the network side that topology is a key factor here also. With this information, this all comes back to the operations teams. This is collectively either known as telemetry or observability. Right? So we want to understand how our application environment's performing. So we observe the metrics within them, we observe the logs within them, and this telemetry stream comes back to the operations team. Each one of these layers has its own tool that goes with it, right? So each tool has its own silo of information that contains its metrics, its alarms, and its topology. So when there's an issue, the operations team looks within the telemetry stack, within this stream of information, to find where is the problem. So what they're doing is isolation. So where is the problem? Then the next step that they do is they try to identify what is the problem. They go, is it severe? What's the priority of it? How bad is it? Is it impacting my business? And so this is a part of the triage process. And then once they have it triaged, then they move into, okay, I want to diagnose it. What caused it, right? And they move to root cause analysis. These three steps work together in conjunction. And so based off of the complexity of the issue, this can be a relatively fast process or this could be a slow process, but it generally progresses through those stages. As applications have grown in priority and in prevalence in environments, we've seen an increase in the number of metrics, and we've also seen an increase in the use of traces. So traces is the monitoring of the application experience and the call path through the application. We also see, in addition to the application becoming more important, we also see them moving towards a more ephemeral structure and then also a smaller structure, right, towards microservices. Again, this increases the amount of telemetry that we see coming out of these applications. Finally, with infrastructure, we see the similar increase in the number of metrics, and this is related to the move towards Kubernetes, towards containers, and this also drives an increase in the amount of telemetry coming out of these environments. Network, not to be left out, has also its own increasing complexity related to its metrics and its telemetry coming out. So you can think of software-defined networks or SD-WANs driving this, and driving this need for additional visibility. Remember, your application and your IT services are key for your business, and delivering a good experience is important. And finding problems in this stream can be a daunting task for your operations team. So now if we go back to the operations team, and they have to isolate the issue. They have to look within this telemetry stream, try to find, okay, I have an alarm. Now, before, when things were simpler, the operations team had 1 alarm, or 10 alarms, or 100 alarms. Now they're dealing with thousands of alarms, and they could occur all over the environment. And so they're getting a lot of noise in this telemetry. Then they need to identify, now I've got lots of alarms, I've got lots of incidents and lots of issues. I have to triage that. And so triaging within this stream, you can imagine is going to be difficult. How is the operations engineer going to know what's the most important thing I need to work on? How do I prioritize within this stack of information, within all of these incidents, to know which one's more important? And then finally, how can I make sense out of all of these disparate silos of information? If you recall, these tools, when they're deployed, each one's deployed to its own silo. And so when they have to diagnose the problem, they have to work across all of these disparate streams of information. All of these different pockets of information are pushed out there, and they're having to bring that information, that insight that they have to get, they have to make those context calls themselves. So to solve this problem, we use AIOps from Broadcom. So with AIOps, we pull, as a first step, we pull this information together in a data lake. So what this allows us to do is to bring all of this telemetry information, all this observability, all this great stuff into one place. So you're no longer having to deal with silos of information. You now have one place to work from. And then we can start doing the next set of insights and start getting value out of this massive pool of information. And so we apply a set of algorithmic insights to triage and isolate automatically. And so the first thing that we can do is that we'll look at the metrics and identify anomalies within the metrics. And so we can create an event stream out of that. Next, we can bring in additional events and correlate them together. And so as these events come in, we can correlate them against the first context point, which is time. And so when they're correlated in time, we can start identifying a pattern of which events are related to each other. And so we can see roughly here that these events correlate in time, they look similar, they may be doing similar activities. And that leads into the second type of algorithmic triage that we can perform. And that is looking within the event and looking within the messages and looking at the context of the message. And so we can start grouping these items together. And so I can say that these metrics, these alarms, these events, these anomalies belong together. And so as I start grouping these together, we're actually clustering them. So I look inside the message, I can see that this message is talking about a performance problem, that this message is talking about an error, that this message is talking about a certain set of infrastructure. I can start taking that important information out automatically and start wiring it together. And so what we see here is the first formations of clusters. And these clusters of events allow us as an operator or as a user to get efficient insight into what's going on. So I could label these application. Let's say I could label this app, and I could label this infrastructure, right? And I could label this network. Right, now you start understanding what the clusters bring here, right? I have a cluster of events that the events are brought together, and at this point the operator can take a look at it and say, oh, I just want to look at these infrastructure events, right? I want to look at these app events, right? And start seeing value out of that. But then we can take one step further, and the next set of algorithmic triage that's applied is topology. So we have this event stream, right? And we have all of this data brought in. And with this telemetry, one of the key components that we get there is we're getting topology information from the application, infrastructure, and network layer. So these come in together, and so we can start drawing that association that the application depends on the infrastructure and that the infrastructure depends on the network. And so on these clusters, we can understand that dependency relationship. We can understand it in time. And so I can identify the root cause is related to this event, and it's impacting the application. In total, we can then package this information into a scenario. And this scenario has complete awareness of the issue. It has the metrics associated with it, the automatically discovered anomalies, the alarms, and the related underlying topology and other information. So it's a complete situational awareness for the operator. This information is provided as a scenario to the operations team. This scenario contains the intelligent insights that allows the user to isolate, triage, and diagnose the problem automatically because it contains all of the awareness, all of the information contained up in the telemetry stream packaged together within the scenario itself. In addition to this, it also offers a remediation activity that the operations team can execute or have execute automatically. This is enhanced with machine learning to provide the best outcome for the situation or the scenario as it comes up. This provides the user, again, the operations team, the ability to isolate, triage, and diagnose issues faster through the intelligent insights provided by the AIOps platform.